Hobbs. I'll be with you through to 9 p.m. Healing Our Land broadcast Tuesday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday evening, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So grateful to have in the studio with me live my friend and my brother who is running for at-large city councilor in the person of Clifton Braithwaite. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Pastor Hobbs. So invite me in so we can just let the residents of this beautiful city hear what my platform is in the decades of service I've been providing for our community. So it's an honor to be here and to kick off. I've been at a few radio stations, and, for the years, I like to come here first and bring the candidates first here. But, the celebration of 50 years of hip hop, I got a lot of calls because, I came from the music world. So I don't want to let you feel slighted, but you get the first announcement of the endorsements that are in the play. We'll go over all that once we dive deep into it. So hello, listeners. God bless you all. And let's just get right to business.
Absolutely. So a better Boston for all residents. Municipal election November 7th, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Dear Boston community at large, it's an honor to address you all as I announce my candidacy for public office. As a lifelong activist, I've been devoted to serving and advocating for those in need. I've witnessed firsthand the issues facing our community, and I recognize the need for change. My platform is centered around strengthening our community through equality, justice, and transparency. I believe that every individual deserves to thrive and reach their full potential, regardless of their background or circumstances. My goal is to create a community that prioritizes the welfare of every member, from the poorest and the most marginalized to the most affluent. I'm dedicated to working with you all to provide access to crucial resources, promote social justice, and protect the right of every citizen. I will fight for affordable housing, improved health care, quality education, sustainable economic opportunities, and expanding voting rights. I'm committed to transparency, accountability, and integrity. I will make sure that every decision we make in public office is made with the best interests of our community in mind. Boston residents, I'm here to serve you, to fight for you, and to make sure our city is a place where everyone can thrive together. We can make a positive impact on our community and continue to create a brighter future for all generations to come. Outstanding. And
man, when I hear you read it, I was looking around. Did I write that?
It's very impressive, brother. It's very impressive. Further reads, Dear Boston community at large, it's an honor to address you all as I announce my candidacy for public office as a lifelong activist. Is this the thing I just read? No. I've been devoted to serving and advocating.
Oh, that's the same thing.
Oh, it's the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay,
it's the same thing.
But he does say here, as your at-large city councilor, our administration will prioritize the following: family stabilization, education, public safety, performing arts, rehearsal space, and living complex, expanding housing equity and home ownership, coastal flooding, youth violence. And your campaign website is www.Braithwaite, spelled BRAITHWAITE, 4 Boston, it's all one word, .com. Outstanding platform, brother. I love all the sound. It says policies that work for the residents of Boston. So I'm going to back up and go to, for those who might not know Clifton Braithwaite. How do you say
Clifton Braithwaite.
Braithwaite.
Yep. Okay. Us Americans say Braithwaite, and my Trinidadian and Venezuelan family members say Brathwaite.
Okay.
I don't know the difference. It sounds the same to me. So I just think it's the foreign tongue compared, the Spanish tongue, the American tongue, and the Trinidadian tongue. Yeah. So, it's a great mixture over here.
Absolutely. Talk about that mixture. Talk a little bit about, for those who don't know you, who is Clifton Braithwaite?
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll dive in deep, and I promise not to be too long,
ahead,
right?
Bro.
We got a long time
an hour.
anyways, all right.
By the way, we want our listening and our viewing audience to participate. This
Yes,
is a live,
please.
interactive
Yes.
interview, so you are welcome to call us live on the air. You can weigh in with your comments, your questions to the candidate, myself. You can call 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. Our main webpage, again, is www.bostonpraiseradio.tv. There you can see us, you can hear us, and you can communicate in the instant chat. And I believe we'll also be on Pastor Bruce Wall's Facebook page.
Yes.
So any of those platforms you can communicate. You can also write us. Perhaps you're incarcerated and you don't have the ability to pick up the phone or to be able to go to a social media page, but you wanna hear this. Maybe you're hearing this on 102.9, our FM platform, and you wanna ask our candidate a question. You wanna give a comment. You can do that too.
Yep.
You can write us.
Yep.
670 Washington Street, Dorchester, Mass. 02124, and we'll make certain that comment and or question gets to candidate Clifton Braithwaite.
Thank you. So let's dive into
Yes,
a little bit of my family history. A lot of people didn't know that I'm Venezuelan and Trinidadian. First American born in my family. I used to travel when I was younger as an artist back in the days. My father met my mother in Trinidad. He was exiled from Venezuela.
Wow.
And my grandfather owned oil, and he remarried. And when my grandfather died, my father's stepmother exiled him to Trinidad with nothing. And that story there always gives me the inspiration. You can come from anywhere. He was self-educated, came to America with a 5-year plan. Within a year's time, he moved my mother from Trinidad to America, and he had a contract with GE Electric. He was fortunate to do some private work for the owner back in those days in the 50s, 60s. And I guess overnight, to me, when you hear the stories, but pretty much if you had a 5-year plan and in a year's time, the woman that you loved, you brought from Trinidad to America, like pretty much overnight, he became successful and did a lot of great things. And I'm just glad to be his son. And my mother telling me the stories about that man. He was a great man. He was a part of when Mel King got assassinated, when James Brown came to Boston and saved Boston. My father was actually the man that was bringing James Brown around.
Get out of here.
And as you know, on the 50th year anniversary of James Brown saving Boston, while I was going through life trials and tribulations, God just hit me in the head and said, listen, you come from greatness. You come from a great cloth. Keep your head up. And while Tony Wilson and I were traveling, going from place to place, we realized the stories that he heard as a young man were the stories of my father from Lynn, Massachusetts, that escorted him around Boston and Massachusetts and helped him get WBGH to make sure that he was able to go live with the mayor. So the lineage is long, man, and a lot of people don't know that. And that's why my commitment to community is serious. If it wasn't for great men in my father's life that overseen me growing up, through sports, through dance, through performing arts, and just learning the whole culture, that's why I love our city. Tell you the truth. The compassion, the work, it's for real. And sometimes you feel like you're lonely in this game, but then the Lord blesses you with some great people. I have a great campaign manager, Chrissy. She's putting in work. She's making sure I get a lot of rest while grinding hard. She's very committed. I got my man Sam Pierce. A lot of people underestimate Sam when it comes to legislation and knowing a lot of rules. The man's tight with his work. He's all over the place because he's a hard worker, but his dedication to getting the mission done, second to none. And then I got my man Rich. He's another part of the campaign, and everyone's just putting work. I got 1102 Blue Hill Ave, Cleon, Byron, his family, total support of the whole mission. For those that don't know, at 1102 Blue Hill Ave, this is just about like full circle. Used to be the hub for politics, and I done ran like 3 campaigns out of there. Leonard Lee, I assisted Culpeper by giving them information how to run a campaign. I was on another team, but that's one thing about me. Even while running, the newer candidates in the at-large race, I give them suggestions and things to do, because it's not about hating each other. It's about showing total commitment to working together. And a lot of people don't do that. They're fighting like they're fighting for their lives and not giving the message to the people. So I'm about showing what my platform's about, but I'm also about giving the ear, because I don't want to make the mistakes our elders did with me by telling me I had a lane. I believe nobody knows what anybody's lane is, but you must give the education to the youth so we don't miss that gap in politics. But I mean, I'm having fun, Pastor. I'm having fun. You know, when we talk about family stabilization, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about from great grandma and grandpa down to mama, daddy, to the uncle and cousin who went into the military. I'm talking about the family member that might be addicted to drugs. I'm talking about the family member who might have did something dark. We have trauma in our communities. Yeah, and yes, I'm a man of color, but these, when you really look at it, being a counselor at large, and you really break down the differences, there is no differences, because there's about 4 things we all want in our homes, no matter what walk of life you come from. You want a decent place to live, great education, great health care, and you want an opportunity to grow. Those are the things everybody wants. Good eating, good food. These are the things that we all want, but we've got to stop separating it. There's no difference between anyone else's family, and we have to really heal back the family.
I mean, I hear that. I agree with that. That's a great vision. Practically, I'm curious as to some of, strategies, because, we are so diverse. Here in the city of Boston, unfortunately, it seems like the polarization and those kind of things, not even just here in Boston, quite all across the country.
Yep.
Post-COVID, has pushed people to be more polarized than ever. And so our diversity, now the buzzword is equity. Everybody's talking about equity on the heels of George Floyd and Black Lives Matters, right? And these reports that are showing the disparity of African Americans, $8 an hour, the median income, to $247,000 to white folks that have everything to do with land. So the buzzword for politicians, right, and funders and everything is equity. And that sounds great, but when we're talking about gentrification and we're talking about classism and racism, these structural things that have been in place for so long. So practically, even at City Hall, our city council is more diverse than it's ever been. In fact, the majority are people of color. The minority now are Europeans.
Yes.
So there's a lot of tension going on at City Hall.
Do you know this is the first time in Boston history there isn't a white man running for Boston City Council at large?
First time.
First time.
Not one.
Not one.
I didn't.
And I got to give mad respects to Flaherty, because he could have kept the whole election in limbo and we wouldn't have the preliminary race. You know what I mean? We go right to the general, and that shows what type of leadership we're missing in office. When I put my hat in the race, I was going, if you want to say, against all the incumbents. But this is what I said to all of them respectfully. I'm not running against you. I'm just putting my years of service to the community on notice. And I hope to earn your support as a potential candidate and as a colleague in office with you. Now, to some people, they say, oh, that sounds nice. You're really going after someone's throat. No, every seat, when there's a new election, it's up for someone for grabs to put their hat in the arena.
Of course.
And I think there's some great candidates in the race, right? Because I'm not about dirty ball, but let's just keep it 100. None of them have the years of service and dedication to this community. And that should be the forefront. Why are we looking for someone to come in when we know you have that person here? So all I ask is everybody, just look at my history, ask the questions. I navigated families through the state level, federal level, as well as city level. I'm helping a young man right now who got exiled out of India, and his wife is back home in India, and they just executed his whole family except his wife. She's hiding somewhere. And, I went to Elizabeth Warren because I have relationships. They're jumping on it. I spoke with Erin Murphy, Dave, her chief of staff. I spoke to elder counselors because this is very touching, and I talk to the gentleman pretty much every day because, it's a hard thing to know that your father and family was executed and your wife's down there alone hiding with other rebels to keep her. I don't want to say rebels. I don't know what side of the fence they're on, but hiding with people out there that are definitely against what's going on in India right now. So these are the things I've been doing for a long time. Like I even heard a joke when Elizabeth Warren did her town hall meeting before the summer kicked in, and they had some trash talkers, start the rebels, start the trouble. I do what I do. I asked them to stop, walked them outside, and what was ironic, it was someone in the crowd that knows that's who I am and said, oh, Cliff's only doing all that because he's running for office. Listen, everybody, look me straight in the face, and I'm looking you straight in the face. I'm committed to this work. Do I have a lot to learn? Yes. But does my years of service mean anything to you? Do you believe in what we're doing collectively? It's not about an I. This is about a we, and we collectively can make change together. I think we got a call coming in. Hello, caller.
Good evening, brothers. How y'all doing?
Doing outstanding.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big bro, you know what I'm saying? I'm proud of you for throwing your name in the hat, and you said it off the rip. You're not running against anybody. You're running against yourself. So that's who you focus on. You're right. It's not about, taking somebody's job. It's just about who the people want to represent them. And that's how, we have to keep it just like that. If people have to know the difference between an elected official and a politician, and I know you, sir, are going to be elected official because you care about your community. You're 100% about your community. You're 100% about Boston. People don't understand your record, and you know what? And yes, I'm with you. I will put your record on the line against any of them of who done anything for the city of Boston, not just as an elected official, but just as a citizen. Because as a citizen, you did a whole lot, and little to none, got nothing out of it. But God is pushing you. God said, okay, you know what? You just stay steadfast, and I will, and I will move you, and then move mountains away from you so you can pass on through. And you're going to pass on through, and you're going to show them at a city council on how to come together.
Definitely.
Not to be separate. You can agree to disagree without disrespecting somebody, on that seat.
Definitely.
But bro, listen, you know what? You're gonna make, you're gonna make everybody proud. Win or lose, you know what? You're gonna show everybody, you're gonna show everybody in the city of Boston on how to run a campaign, an effective campaign. I tell people all the time, people, rely on money. You're relying on faith.
Yeah.
And faith over money, I'll take any day. God bless you, Big Bro.
Thank you, Big T. Thank you, and congratulations on your potentially about to become a Boston cop. I don't know if I'm blowing the whistle early, man, but wow. Congratulations, brother. You shouldn't have let me know the mouth of the South. You know what I'm talking about?
Congrats, brother. Absolutely. Need some good.
Listen. It says in the Bible, God's gonna pardon you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
God gave me the pardon.
Definitely.
Only thing in my way is just me. And listen, what I tell you before, never give up.
Never give up. That's why I'm taking Buddha lessons, and that's why I bought that hat from the Buddha thing. Never give up, and I mean it. Never give up.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Peace, brother.
And Big T is talking about fundraising. I was speaking to former President Obama's field guy, and he was saying to me, A lot of people are going to say you have a grassroots campaign because you don't have a lot of money. But what they don't understand is your determination. When most of the candidates are home sleeping, even their whole team, my team and we're out there soft door knocking. I'm in GOTV, right? Get out the vote.
Yeah.
I have no choice because the fundraising hasn't been building up the way that I anticipated. And a lot of promissory notes that haven't come through. So if you're watching, if you truly believe in the work that I've been doing, I need your support so I can start paying some of my staff, so I can start getting the literature and the science that you are saying that I need. But one thing I tell you this, I know of many candidates that have won elections that didn't even have one sign. I don't want to be one of those candidates because, I like to follow suit and show a strong campaign. But the bottom line is, what am I standing on and what's our work ethics? And it's second to none. Just a little shout out to all the other candidates out there. You got to grind and grind as a candidate. You can't depend on the machine to help you. It's not too many. There's no one out there that can outwork me. But it's, can I get the message to the people, and will the people support the message? We have to work collectively together. We have no one from Boston at the table right now. No one. We don't have a man of color at the table speaking about the situations. We don't have people in office right now that have lived experience. No one right now on that council comes from the years of work that I've done. I understand forced busing. I understand the educational gaps. I know where things dropped. I understand housing. So, how do I get better? Is by putting a committee together that works collectively together. Not saying what I didn't do, what I can't do, where I should be. What can we do to work together? Because when you call Clifton A. Braithwaite to be on your campaign or get your message to the community, I don't give you excuses. And the rep is, the minute Cliff says yes to the contract, the work's already out there. So can I depend on the community that has supported me my whole life? Can we work together to make change and bring history? Because the strength of a council is where we at right now. We have more people of color in the race than ever before. And what can we do with it? My sisters, my queens, my counterparts, we are on the same team. Doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, what color you are. Do you want to make a better Boston so we can be the beacon of light like we've always been, from the Tea Party, Christmas Addicts? There's so many things we've done here in Massachusetts, and I just hope to be and continue that legacy together with you.
Outstanding. Let me ask you, some pointed questions. So you are our first at-large city councilor candidate we've had thus far. We've had every candidate, or I say 5 out of the 7 District 3 city councilors here. Waiting to hear, we've invited them all, waiting to hear from, and I'm gonna put it out there, John Fitzgerald has not responded, so he's, we're nonpartisan. We give everyone an opportunity, and we've not heard from his campaign. There's another individual that I cannot recall, but the majority, 5 out of the 7, have come and shared their position. And so some of the same questions that we asked them, I want to ask you.
No problem.
So specifically as it relates to school, right, education, right? So we here in the city of Boston, the ballot referendum that over the majority of people here in the city of Boston have said, resounding, they want a fully elected school committee. We're the only city in the Commonwealth that does not have a fully elected school committee. Our mayor, Wu, she ran on the campaign as it was a contentious thing during the campaign. And she did, through her campaign, consistently talk about this hybrid. And she's held that position. Again, our mayor's our mayor. I think we elect people in office to do what we want them to do, not for you to impose what you want to do.
Well, can I play devil's advocate on that?
Please.
One, I'm with an elected school committee.
Okay.
All right, hands down. But this is what I bring to the table.
Yep.
I think the elections committee department should handle when it comes to the school committee that they put the slate together. Because what happens in election laws, right? Whoever has the most money, their message is going to get around. And when you're running for school committee, it's basically like running for at large. Everybody has a chance to vote you in.
Okay.
So I don't want to say this is where the mayor's thinking, right? But what I would say to her is, let's sit down and talk, because the elections department should handle just the school committee,
Okay.
right? And put a slate together. It'll be even Steven for everybody running.
Okay.
I think they could afford that. I think that's which way they should go. Now, no other candidates speaking about that. So, any of y'all want to steal the idea, that's cool. We're growing, right?
Hey.
But I think that's the way to play it even, because once again, so everybody understands, when you're in election law, when you're running an election, the laws, whoever usually has the most money is going to get the message out. So my way of playing it safe, let the elections department handle whoever's running for school committee, and let it be an even slate, and let the people make a decision.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay. So that's as it relates to the school. Here, this is the educational mecca of the world. Massachusetts. People
Yep.
come from all over the world for higher institutions of learning,
Yep.
from the Harvards to the Northeastern, you name them, right? So, however, our public school system is in trouble.
All right. It was in trouble when I switched from Mecco. Well, it wasn't Mecco for me because I was living out there, right? Newton North, and I went to private schools and things like that before moving into Boston. I went to Newton North when I got older. I was already out. I moved into Boston at 8. And when you can go back to your middle school, Washington Irving Middle School, and you can see the book that you wrote, Cliffy Loves Christina, and it's the same book, and I was like 40 at the time. We're behind in the system. Teachers shouldn't be forced to pay for books and things like that. Even the maintenance workers who are underpaid right now and are not working with a contract. We need to worry about those guys, because keeping the schools clean, But yeah, we have a lot of work.
So let me ask you. So these institutions do not pay taxes. There's supposed to be this pilot payment in lieu of taxes. I don't know. Clearly they're not given their fair share
Yes.
of what they need to be giving back, as people come from all over the world. The interest off the endowments from Harvard, right? A crumb of that, 1% of that could fix the crumbling buildings and create,
Yep.
mentor them. Like it's really a problem, and that we're not holding these institutions to be accountable, and particularly in this lens of equity, to be able to make sure that they're partnering with the
Yep.
public school system. There's a pipeline. And at that same vein, let's talk about Madison Park, right? Is it Madison Park?
It's Madison Park.
That they're talking about. Again, I heard a press conference. They were talking about moving.
Oh no, they're talking about the O'Brien.
John D. O'Brien.
O'Brien, yeah.
Right, which is a trade place, right?
No,
Or
it's like the Latin school. It's the little crumb of little crumb.
Yes.
And our beef with that is, West Roxbury had a great tradition, right? At one time, they broke that tradition up. But the majority of the students who go to the school now are students in our neighborhoods.
Right.
And as you know, we can't trust the bus system to get our kids over there. And over there in West Roxbury, that's a dead zone. So, let's just look at the idea and find another way, or rebuild them their own building. They were supposed to get a building when they went over to Madison. That's never happened. So it's really about, there's no excuses when it comes to Boston public school money. None right now.
None.
They're not broke.
No.
So what we have to have is the mayor
Yeah.
have a plan and put in place. Now, will she be able to follow through that plan? I think if you put a real plan that works 5 years from now, because the buildings are not going to get built overnight,
No.
right? But if she can put that infrastructure together to show that long-term generations will have state-of-the-art schools, right? We have some good schools going on out there, but we need more. We really need to rebuild the structure of the schools and award good teachers so we can get the best teachers. I don't know why is that so difficult?
Good question. And so that's something that, again, we want people as city councilors are working with our mayor to be able, this is something we've got to be able to address, is our public school system. Safety.
Yep.
Right? So we can't educate folks if they don't even feel safe, and so the violence piece is something Detective Larry Ellison, who sits right in that seat every Saturday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with the Mamely O broadcast, who is an officer who works within the school system.
There's some horrible stories.
Horrible stories.
And the reflection comes back to the pain and trauma that's in our community. When you have parents talking, I was a security guard at one of the schools. Mm-hmm. And while the mother and father were leaving the gym, they said, "Ain't that son of a girl who ran up on you? Better go get her now." When you have parents engaging in that instead of coming to solutions, right? It just shows what's going on behind the scenes in our own normal lives. You're accountable for your children.
That's right.
Right? And if you're pushing them to fight, that's where the problem begins. So we have to really work on the parents as well as the children.
Absolutely. And while we're working on that, because the parents are doing that mindset, right?
Yeah.
Then, they're not coming to PTA. They're not engaged in many instances. And, it's just it's a negative kind of a mindset that's perpetuating this vicious cycle. But I'm saying, even for the kids who are coming to school, for them to feel safe, that they don't feel like they need to carry to protect themselves because of bullying. When I was in school, I was bullied, but they didn't carry guns.
Right.
They might have said something or done some things that made you
You
feel
might have not went down
embarrassed.
you might have not went to the bathroom in the back of the hallway, but you
didn't have to get
you
shot.
You navigated around
all
all
of that. You
Yep.
understand? So it's a different time. My heart really goes out to these young folks.
Can I tell you where it stems from? Mm-hmm. And I'm a fan of Deion Sanders.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And it starts with the way that you dress and the way that you go to school and how you feel.
Okay.
Parents, if you're listening, do your best not to scream at your kid in the morning on their way to school. Give them good thoughts. Mm-hmm. All right? They already have enough trauma and trials that you might not know about when they get to school. Sure. We got to bring up the dress code, right? Now, when I was younger, I probably wouldn't be saying what I'm saying now. But when you look across the state and across the country, and where our students are at and what they're lacking on, one, if you don't have a sense of self-respect and coming dressed, I'm not saying put the Poindexter shirt on, still keep it fly. I'm hip-hop, I'm with it, but I think it should be only one day, a down day of dressing. Kids should not be allowed to go into school every day with their pajamas on, because when they get in the real world, they're going to tell their boss, "This is what I've been doing all my life," and that's just not going to cut it. Mm-hmm. We have to bring a standard of respect and dignity. Mm-hmm. That's one. Mm-hmm. Two, award those security guards and maintenance workers and teachers that go beyond to be able to be mentors to these students, right? Mm-hmm. Bring in some outside parents or where they could just be like guards in the school, but not guards. They're just there to talk to the kid when they're having a bad day. Those are things I experienced coming up, but it wasn't in the school curriculum. It was just teachers that knew my mama and my pops.
Community, more back to
and
community.
more community, right? So we got to make the schools feel safe, and how do we do that? By speaking to the kids on a regular. They're not dumb. And they will listen, but you got to show them something. And look how the parents act. Look how the teaching staff acts, right? So if the teachers are fighting, the adults are fighting, what do you think the kids were going to do when they went back from COVID? Because everything's a pressure part right now.
Sure. With that said, again, there are city councilors right now who are proponents of having metal detectors in our schools.
Yep.
There's a larger percentage of city councils who are opposed to metal detectors, saying it's traumatizing the kids. Now you go into City Hall, you go through metal detectors. You go to Disneyland, you're gonna go through metal detectors. Like, kids go through metal detectors all the time.
I don't understand that thinking, because the numbers show there's a lot of inner city shootings, right? The Burke just had one, I believe, near the end of the school year, right? Where it was 2 students and went too far. A mother yelled out. One of my friends is ducking bullets. That was a counselor there. How do we get to the problem when knowing there is a problem? Like, the biggest mistake the Boston Public Schools made is when they started integrating the different gang areas. You had to know those were different gang areas because people told you, right? You need metal detectors. So I don't know what bubble they're living in, okay? But we need metal detectors. And are they being disrespected when they come in through Is that a reason why they feel that the metal detectors shouldn't be there because it's trauma? But no, I've walked through a lot of the metal detectors in the high schools, and actually it's a moment for people to say, what a bright day, and how you doing today? You got that one-on-one with the kid. I guess we got another caller.
You have a repeat caller.
A repeat caller.
Yes, sir. Oh, man, this is my topic. This is the topic that I always try to hit every candidate with, this lieu of taxes. Our school systems are one of the worst school systems here in Massachusetts.
Yes.
We consider ourselves the mecca of education. We have the best colleges and universities throughout the nation. So why are elementary, middle school, and high schools look so thumpy? This school system has money, but see, there's a plan.
Mm-hmm.
There's a plan to eliminate our public schools. There's a plan, to move us, to gentrify us out of our community and put us down in those communities where other folks are trying to leave from to come back to the city of Boston. If every college and university will put their fair share into the city of Boston school system, we will have the best school system there is. I always say, why can't these universities and these colleges adopt at least 7 to 8 schools? Bring these schools up to the best educational school system that it is. Then you watch how people start flocking to, our school system.
Yep.
Why is it that our kids have to get bused to another neighborhood outside of Boston to get a great education? When we was growing up, we had woodworking, we had printing, we had photography. We had all that stuff when we was growing up. Now our kids can even, see what we have a grasp to. That's how, when Madison Park was first built, everybody was trying to get over to Madison Park because Madison Park had ORC. Yep. ORC taught them automotive, cooking, sewing, carpentry, electric, plumbing. That was the union of us growing up. And that's how some of us was able to get into these trades. Yeah, that's how some of us are able to build, right now in our community because of ORC.
Hey, T.
It is the only school.
T, let me jump in right there. A lot of people don't understand that ORC was looked at across the nation as the #1 trade school. Mm-hmm. Now, this generation thinks it's Worcester. Worcester only copied and got some of the foundational people who put it together here in Boston and went out there to Worcester, and they dismantled our great ORC. And then Brighton High had a great automotive program. Umana Tech had a great program if you wanted to become a doctor or scientist. All the schools that were doing the things that would give us trades and longevity and great jobs, those inner city schools have been cut. So it's definitely by plan. That's what Big T's talking about.
It was a plan because they seen all this wisdom and all this knowledge coming out of those schools. Yep. And they said, oh, they're bypassing our kids. Oh, no, we can't have that.
Just like in Detroit. Detroit had such a great market in cars and in manufacturing, right? What did they do? They looked at the generations that were able to have homes, was able to have stability, and they said, we got to get this out of Detroit. We're attacked at every level, and these are the type of people that we need to be in the forefront that get it, not happy to rub elbows with the next politician. I can care less about rubbing elbows. I know them all. But what are you going to do for the community that I'm going to be working for? How are you going to help me service our community better? We know the educational values in our schools are garbage. We know the safety in our neighborhoods are garbage. So what do we have to do? We have to have more people at the table to fight the machine that's offside the table, period, hands down.
Brother, there's a warning coming, and God is not happy. I keep telling folks, God and the devil can't reside in the same house. Whose side are you on? God ain't picking quarters. God ain't saying, okay, I'm going to put you in this category, in that category. It's two sides, his side or the other side. Which side are you picking? And people think, okay, you know what, you go into, become a politician, elected official, okay, you know what, somebody with the big bucks come to you and want you to sell out because they flashing money before you. Which side are you going to pick?
Yeah,
because they flashing that money, but they flashing that money for you to, to eliminate our baby. I tell people, Madison Park is up for sale.
Yes, it is.
RCC is up for sale. The Reggie Lewis Center is up for sale. They need that development to put in place of what they really want to put there. Yeah. And it's not for us. And we as a people have to stand up and wake up to see the reality. We have to stop saying, okay, you know what, they don't care. But what about you? You look in the mirror and look at yourself. What have you done? Stop worrying about what everybody else does. Stop worrying about what the elected officials are supposed to do. No, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know what? Stop complaining and get out there and do the work. You know what? Are you a soldier of God or are you just a soldier of confusion?
Oh, man.
Get out there, and do the work. It's like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Yeah, we're the lost children of Israel because, some of us don't want to do the work. I keep saying, Harriet Tubman said, I freed 1,000 slaves. And I'm one of them 1,000 that she freed. Would have freed 1,000 more only if they knew they were slaves. Are you that 1,000 who didn't want to get free because you didn't know you was a slave?
Come on now.
Let's get to work. You know what? Just like you, Brother Cliff. I rub elbows with elected officials. I rub elbows with all of them. But they know where I stand. They know who I am. Who are you? That's
right.
The thing that you have to
Ain't no yes man over here.
Yeah, exactly. And, and they know, like, oh, man, look, listen, he might talk to you, but he's going to tell you how he feels. And if it ain't right, he's going to let you know it ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, it ain't right. We can agree to disagree. But you're not going to change my mindset to fit your mindset to destroy a people who are out here looking for you.
We don't need anybody in City Hall anymore that's going to compromise the welfare of the community. And that's one thing I will not compromise. I will stand fast, and I will hold this city in limbo if they do not do the things needed for the constituents who I'll be serving. And that's the beauty about running at large. I get to do what I've been doing all my life, serving the whole city of Boston.
Bro, let me tell you, right? Our mayor has a humble heart, a sweetheart. She tries to serve everybody. But the devil is out here making her look bad. It's tearing her apart because she doesn't have that, that God spirit to say, okay, you know what? You come after me, I'm coming after you. This is where I stand. I love our mayor. Our mayor is the humblest. She has a humble heart.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. I've worked with her from Elizabeth Warren's campaign. Once I brokered into the Elizabeth Warren's campaign, she made sure and took care of my team, made sure that we had a good budget to do and get the message out there. So her heart, like you said, I know her heart. I know what type of work she's about. But I just think she got too many flunkies around her that ain't really getting her true agenda out there.
Because everybody wants a title. Nobody wants to do the work. They just want the title.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. You have to get out here in these streets, and you got to fight. You got to fight for survival. You got to know how to fight these devils out here who are trying to destroy our community. You know what? Because ain't no other mayor that's been attacked harder than she's been attacked. You ain't seen nobody at Menino's house. You ain't seen nobody at Flaherty's house. But now everybody want to go to her house and gather her because she's a woman? Man, y'all, they ain't nothing but a bunch of cowards. You know what I'm saying? That's why we need brothers like you up in City Hall to say, okay, you know what? No, I'm not rubbing elbows with you because you have a lot of money. You can put together your plan to try to get me out of office or try to set me up, for some type of a scandal. But you have to believe in faith and have God by your side. Yeah. Forget all them other flunkies. If they're with you, they're with you. If they're not, then so what? So what? You know what? And the best thing to do to them is you keep speaking to them and you keep being who you are. You don't change you for nobody.
You already know.
Don't change you for nobody. You know what? They're going to accept you how you are. If that's how you are, if you're a humbling man and you're a man of God, then you keep being a man of God. Don't be afraid to say who you are. Because remember, if you deny him in front of many, It was a 9-year in front of everybody.
There you go.
Appreciate you, Brother Terrence. We
Appreciate you, bro.
appreciate you. Listen, we got a few more moments before we got to get some more one callers in, as well as some more questions before the broadcast ends. But I certainly do appreciate your perspective and your feedback and your commentary, Brother Terrence.
Thank you, Brother Terrence.
So he's, you've got a big supporter, and we're hearing some of the things that we need to address as we talk about, the structure, right? As we talk about right now, it's not even about if a person's a nice person or a bad person, because I don't, but it's about, are we doing the make right decisions to move our city forward, right? And many of the advisors, I know all the people as well, right? Mm-hmm. And they're all good people, nice people, but that's not moving our city, nope. Right? And so when I go to the senior advisor, right, and they tell me, oh, the mayor doesn't like us to tell her what to do. Why are you an advisor? Because you have a position, you have no staff.
Or could it be the advisor expects more out of the mayor for her to listen, and so because she might have took it into consideration and might not do it right then and there. See, my thing is this. You got to respect leadership. Okay. Sometimes you might not understand where the leader's coming from and come full circle, right? But if you don't even accomplish what the leader first tells you, who are you to denounce the leadership? To me, you're cutting them underneath the wing.
Okay, but hear me out. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about. I'm not. Maybe what coulda, shoulda been. Right? Yep. We're not talking about hypothesis. I'm telling you what has happened. Practically, people who we know who are, and I'm glad you got a job in the mayor's administration. I'm not hating on you having a job. Right. What I have a problem with is when you were the point person to address whatever senior.
I got you.
And I'm going to you, right? And you tell me the consistent response.
You know what it comes down to?
What?
They're only there for the check, fam.
Well, you don't need to tell me.
You know why?
What?
Because when I was working for the record labels and I was making $250,000, right? Mm-hmm. And then I realized the only music they wanted me to push in our community was the gangsta hip hop. Right. But I already knew that the whiter community was buying our music, and they were telling me, no, we want you to market in this area. Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to be a sellout. Mm-hmm. I walked away from good money. Okay. All right. And then I got into advocacy 100%. So that's what you're saying. Because if too many people in your leadership are pulling out, either the problem's them or you. So right now, we don't know what the problem is.
Well, I think I do know what some of the problem is. And so, because again, I've been an activist, for some time, and I see the structures and the names change, right? But the structures is the same. So you hire people who are people who you want the good graces of people whom those people have influence.
Yep.
So I will get some people some nice jobs, because that will buy me loyalty. Yep. It's strategic. Definitely. That's smart. So I respect, and I'm praying, and I'm engaging our mayor and want her to succeed. Yep. What I'm saying is it's important, though, that we elect people, right, who are going to be able to be strong enough to be able. We're electing you to go there to be our voice, not to get a check, not to play the politics game, not to have this be something that's self-serving, right? And so what I'm saying is that we're at a critical point. Massachusetts is at a really strong fiscal situation. We have a once in a generation opportunity to use these resources fiscally to be seed money, to do innovation that we've never even thought of before.
We have an opportunity, and now we're going to miss it again. Are we just going to pick on favoritism, or are we going to pick on the work of people that actually did the work? When you look here, when I talk about housing.
Yep, that's a big one. That's one of the big ones. And let me just before you go there, only because time's winding down, I want to say this.
Is that quick already?
Believe it or not, no. Yes, because we've had a lot of conversation and commentary that's good, but yeah, it's flying by. We'll have to come back, man. This is but the beginning of many conversations. But as it relates to very specifically, as you're talking, I want to make sure that I interject the prison population, right?
Yes,
Because
let's talk about that.
Big population.
Yep. That's your
and right
point.
now we are the third state in the country to move to this far in progress and have made a constitutional amendment is what it takes to restore the right for felons to vote in the state of Massachusetts.
While in prison.
They had it up until 2000.
Yep.
It was stripped from them because of the effectiveness of
Come on
people
now.
from the African American Coalition Committee behind the walls who were having impact.
Yep.
So they shut that down.
Yep. And did it quietly.
And now it literally takes a constitutional amendment to restore that right.
Yep.
When you are convicted of a crime, and we know many people we finding out are exonerated after because they didn't even do the crime.
Right.
But even if you did the crime, your punishment is your freedom is taken from you. It should be in a position now for resources and programs to rehabilitate, to correct you, so you come back to society and can be a productive citizen, not to perpetuate this vicious cycle of recidivism.
And can we set the rumor straight? Listen, in the state of Massachusetts, if you have a record felony just coming home from prison, you can re-register to vote.
Correct.
And your voice needs to be heard because there's people speaking and fighting for you, the prisoner, the family that has a son and daughter in and out and addicted to drugs. There's people making decisions for you, and you're not at the table. You need to be at the table. So remember this. If anything you didn't hear, hear this. In the state of Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts, you have the right to re-register to vote. Exercise your right because you're standing on the shoulders of those who died for you to have the right.
Absolutely. So we're literally 4 minutes.
All right.
Right before we've got it, and I'm just going to give you the floor, brother. Talk about one. So you would support obviously that felony reenfranchisement.
Yes,
that's a given.
There's
a ballot box initiative that we are working, a mobile ballot box initiative that we are proposing to implement to be a pilot. Now we passed the Voting Rights Act that affords people who are incarcerated, all this, they're apps, what are they? They're specially qualified. So now this law has passed, but to implement it, we want to do this pilot that Sheriff Tompkins wants to help us to do.
That's right.
And so ultimately what will happen is the sheriff will communicate everyone in his custody and care who's eligible to vote electronically to the elections department.
Well, since we're talking about my brother, Sheriff Tompkins, right? And this is my first show, and I get to say my first endorsement. Sheriff Tompkins endorsed me from the beginning of the campaign.
Congratulations.
But I had to earn it, y'all. We get caught up in politics or just in general life. What have you done for me lately? I believed in the sheriff, and I still believe in the sheriff. That's why I openly supported him when he first came into office. And I will continue him as long as his legacy's there. I'll be there whenever he calls. And that's a good brotherhood. What I mean, I had to earn it. I had to sit down there, speak about my platform, and I earned the right to have the sheriff to endorse me. So, further ado, I have many more endorsements coming.
Yes, that's the first.
But I had to release Sheriff Tompkins first. A lot of people are going to be surprised in the other ones that we're laying out. But it comes down to relationships, faithfulness to my community, and the work people know that I do behind the scenes. My job, when I am your counselor at large, is to navigate the things that you need. I'm not an expert, and no one that steps in this office is an expert. But this, I tell you, it won't go unnoticed, and I will be definitely working, and I will find the resources for the things that you do. And this is where relationships come. I have relationships from the state level, city level, and community base. So collectively together, let's do something that no one expects us to do. Let's just win it.
So the mobile ballot box initiative pilot, again, that will go there, and then they will put every person who's eligible with their name on their absentee ballot application, just like you and I get it to our house to get the option to do a mail-in ballot.
Are we going to do that this year, coming around?
We're trying to. We're trying to implement that as we speak.
Well, thumbs up. I'm with it.
Support it.
I support it. Don't even go without it. I support it.
All right, beautiful. So with literally 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
the floor is yours to talk to our viewing and listening audience. Why should they vote for Clifton Braithwaite, and how can they support you?
If you believe in a man's work speaks in volumes of the things that he'll do when he's in office, I'm your candidate. If you believe that if someone can go through trials and tribulations in life and still serve his community every day, I'm definitely your candidate. But if you believe that it's time for change, of course, I'm that candidate. I'm only as strong as the constituents that back me. This is not an I, this is a we campaign. To make a better Boston, I have to sit at the table with everybody and understand where they're coming from, and I'm able to do that. And when I'm in City Hall, at-large city councilor, I will bring the team together and focus. I come from a long line of football players. I come from a long line of consistency. I don't have to say who I am. You just have to tell everybody that God bless the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Boston residents that make things happen. No I in this team, people. Do you want better? Because I'm willing to serve better. Straight.
And for those who might want to support your campaign, to volunteer, to support in any kind of way, shape, or form, how would they reach you under your campaign?
Well, we're located at 1102 Blue Hill Ave, 1102A Blue Hill Ave. Okay. You can contact me directly at Clifton4, the number 4, Boston, at gmail.com, or you can hit me on the hip, 857-316-4249. That's the campaign number. Or you can hit me physically directly on the hip, 617-637-2468. Who do you appreciate?
Thank you, my friend, and my
Thank
brother,
you.
Clifton Braithwaite.
Have a blessed night, everybody. Peace.
Thank you, our listening and viewing audience, and we'll see you Tuesday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Good night.